When you buy a car, you are buying more than metal, plastic, and an engine. You are buying a promise. That it will start. That it will get you home. That, with proper maintenance, it will not turn into a money pit. Yet certain cars did the exact opposite. And the most concerning part is that their issues did not always surface after years of abuse. In several of the cases we will examine today, the defect was rooted in an engineering decision made on day one. Engines suffering catastrophic internal failure, dangerously vulnerable fuel systems, transmissions dropping propulsion at highway speeds, and mechanical packaging turning routine maintenance into massive four-figure repair bills. Today on Ask Mack, we open the forensic mechanical autopsy of 7 cars that earned a devastating reputation and left thousands of buyers with deep financial regret. To understand why a vehicle lands on a list like this, you have to understand how an automotive disaster is manufactured. It almost never happens by bad luck. It happens when executive budgets cut corners on mission-critical components, when launch timelines are rushed to beat competitors, or when metallurgical risks are taken that customers end up paying for at the repair shop. In this investigation, we don't look at superficial marketing brochures or random online opinions. We look at the hard physical evidence, technical service bulletins, official NHTSA safety recalls, historical reliability teardowns, and federal court records. Because when a car fails catastrophically, the answer is almost always traceable to a specific part, an uncalculated thermal tolerance, or a corporate balance sheet compromise. Let's begin with one of the most notorious and controversial engineering cases in automotive history. In the early 1970s, Ford urgently needed a subcompact to counter imported models from Japan and Europe. The result was the Ford Pinto. The marketing pitch was tempting. A car for under $2,000 weighing under 2,000 pounds. But to hit those strict targets and rush production in record time, an engineering packaging decision was made that proved fatal. The fuel tank was placed directly behind the rear axle, mere inches from the differential housing with virtually no structural reinforcement or protective shield. In rear-end collisions at speeds as low as 21 miles per hour, the protruding bolts of the differential housing acted like a spear, puncturing the fuel tank. Simultaneously, the impact force deformed the body panels, jamming the doors shut and trapping occupants inside a burning cabin as gasoline ignited. During the landmark Grimshaw vs. Ford Motor Company litigation, internal memos surfaced proving Ford executives were fully aware of the defect, but concluded settling wrongful death claims was cheaper than spending $11 per vehicle on a plastic protective shield. NHTSA issued Safety Recall 78V070 covering 1.5 million vehicles. The lesson for every car buyer: never accept structural compromises on fuel safety just to hit an attractive showroom price tag. Around the same time as the Pinto, General Motors released its own subcompact answer, the Chevrolet Vega. The Vega promised an industry breakthrough with a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder engine block cast from high-silicon aluminum alloy without traditional iron cylinder liners. On paper, the goal was reducing weight and streamlining manufacturing. In real-world driving, it turned into a metallurgical disaster. The heavy cast iron cylinder head expanded thermally at a completely different rate than the lightweight aluminum block. The head gasket blew under minor heat cycles, coolant boiled into the combustion chamber, and the steel piston rings severely scored and gouged the unprotected, soft aluminum cylinder walls. The result: engines consuming a quart of oil every 100 miles before reaching 30,000 miles, billowing thick blue smoke and suffering catastrophic compression loss. GM was forced to replace more than 500,000 engines under warranty and hastily redesign the cooling system. The lesson: when an automaker experiments with linerless aluminum alloys on an economy commuter, the consumer pays the price of their engineering laboratory. The Pontiac Aztek became legendary as one of the most polarizing designs ever put into production. Yet if it were only visually awkward, it wouldn't be on this list. The real disaster was concealed beneath the hood, in its 3.4-liter V6 LA1 engine. General Motors assembled these power plants with lower intake manifold gaskets made from thermoplastic composite nylon. Over operating heat cycles, organic acid additives in factory Dex-Cool coolant chemically degraded the nylon gasket material until it warped and cracked. Pressurized coolant seeped directly into the engine crankcase, blending with motor oil to form a toxic, milky sludge that stripped away all lubricating properties. Without a protective oil film, crankshaft and connecting rod bearings suffered metal-on-metal friction, causing catastrophic bottom-end engine seizures well before 80,000 miles. Official GM Technical Service Bulletin TSB the 3rd to the 6th of February 05C documented the need for revised metal core gaskets, but thousands of owners had already faced $4,000 replacement engine invoices. The lesson: never judge a car solely by its exterior. A hidden failure in a $20 plastic gasket can destroy a $4,000 engine. The third-generation Ford Focus, produced from 2012 to 2018, seemed like the ultimate compact: sharp styling, refined driving dynamics, and class-leading fuel economy. Yet it was equipped with the infamous DPS-6 PowerShift dry dual-clutch transmission. Ford marketed this gearbox as combining manual efficiency with automatic convenience. The mechanical reality was devastating. Because it relied on a dry clutch design without an oil bath to dissipate friction heat, stop-and-go urban commuting caused extreme thermal spikes. Input shaft seals deteriorated prematurely, leaking gear oil directly onto the dry friction clutches. The contaminated clutch discs produced violent vehicle shuddering during acceleration, erratic shifting hesitation, and frequent thermal failure of the transmission control module. In numerous highway scenarios, vehicles suffered sudden loss of forward propulsion or complete loss of reverse gear. An investigative exposé by the Detroit Free Press revealed internal engineers warned management about the transmission's fatal unreadiness before production, yet leadership pushed it to market regardless. The outcome: tens of thousands of NHTSA complaints, the federal Vargas class action lawsuit, and extended warranty programs that never fixed the fundamental design flaw. The lesson: avoid dry dual-clutch transmissions in vehicles destined for daily stop-and-go city traffic. When the Chrysler PT Cruiser launched in 2000, it was an undeniable sales phenomenon with its retro styling and modular interior utility. However, as the years passed, it transformed into one of the most dreaded maintenance traps on the used vehicle market. The primary culprit: severe mechanical packaging congestion. Chrysler wedged a transverse 2.4-liter DOHC four-cylinder into an extremely cramped, low-clearance engine bay. The clearance between the timing cover and structural unibody frame rail is so microscopic that standard service hand tools cannot fit. To perform routine maintenance such as replacing a timing belt or water pump, industry Mitchell and all data labor guides allocate between 8 and 9 billable hours, requiring technicians to remove engine mounts, unbolt the alternator and AC compressor, and partially drop the entire drivetrain subframe. A routine service involving $150 in replacement parts ballooned into a $1,400 labor invoice. Countless owners deferred the service due to exorbitant costs, leading to snapped timing belts and valve-to-piston interference damage on vehicles whose market value barely covered the repair. The lesson: the true cost of ownership is never measured in parts prices alone, but in the labor hours required to access them. In 1982, Cadillac rushed into the compact executive segment to stem the rising tide of European imports like BMW and Audi. The corporate shortcut was the Cadillac Cimarron. Instead of developing a bespoke luxury compact, GM executed blatant badge engineering. They took the mass-market GMJ body platform, identical to the modest $5,800 Chevrolet Cavalier, added leather upholstery, chrome trim, and stamped a $12,200 luxury price tag on the window sticker. Under the hood sat the exact same rough, pushrod 1.8-liter four-cylinder generating a sluggish 88 horsepower, mated to a clunky 4-speed manual transmission. The car was noisy, painfully slow, unrefined, and devoid of the acoustic dampening that defined a genuine Cadillac. Buyers felt insulted, dealership sales cratered, and the Cimarron became a textbook business school case study on corporate cynicism and fatal brand dilution. The lesson: beware of premium badges that merely dress up mass-market economy platforms without structural or powertrain enhancements. The Yugo GV arrived in the United States in 1985 with an irresistible consumer proposition: a brand-new showroom car for just $3,990. For thousands of first-time car buyers, it appeared to be the deal of the decade. Yet mechanical reality quickly exposed why cheap shortcuts lead to expensive breakdowns. The Yugo was powered by a Fiat-designed 1.1-liter four-cylinder engine. Crucially, it was an interference engine design, meaning the combustion chamber clearance between open valves and rising pistons is so tight that they occupy the same physical space at alternating intervals. To maintain ultra-low retail pricing, the factory timing belt utilized subpar rubber compounds prone to premature degradation and snapping prior to 30,000 miles. When the belt snapped under load, valves remained frozen open as pistons slammed into them at thousands of RPM, bending valve stems and puncturing piston crowns. A snapped $40 belt instantly totaled the entire engine, generating repair estimates exceeding $2,000 on a car that cost $4,000 brand new. Most were abandoned in junkyards before their 5th year on the road. The lesson: on an interference engine, timing belt quality and timely replacement are non-negotiable. It is the sole line of defense protecting your engine. The 7 vehicles we've examined today prove that automotive disasters are rarely accidents. They stem from financial pressures, rushed development cycles, and corporate decisions that sacrifice sound mechanical engineering for quarterly profit margins. To protect yourself in today's used car market, remember these 4 fundamental rules. Rule number 1. Never buy the first model year of an improving technology, especially glide dual clutch transmissions or experimental cylinder block alloys. Rule number 2. Always verify if the engine is an interference design and demand documented proof with dates and mileage of timing belt replacement. Rule number 3. Inspect the oil filter cap, coolant expansion pump, milky sludge, and contaminated coolant signals catastrophic gasket degradation that destroys bearings. Rule number 4. Before buying an inexpensive used car, look up local labor hours for routine repairs. Tight mechanical packaging determines the true financial cost of ownership. In our next Ask Mack forensic investigation, we will tear down 5 modern-looking used SUVs bankrupting their owners with $7,000 CVT transmission replacements. Subscribe so you don't miss the next mechanical autopsy, and tell me in the comments which of these 7 cars you consider the biggest engineering failure in history.